mountain train, I think. Yeah. I'll put that one out front. Maybe there's a peak in the middle somewhere. Yeah, just like that. That looks good. Yeah, a lot happy about that. So you can always change your mind and still use the same basic format that you've got in your mind. Maybe you want a beach scene or something. I'll show you some of those later on, but I'm just giving you an idea of how to get it on there, and maybe even a few designs. And you can sell your designs. You can sell this design, because I haven't copywritten the design, but not that you can't sell videos as a technique, but you can use the technique. Technique is a lot of fun. Just painting and having a good day, making some art. Always a nice afternoon. Maybe even get together with friends. Let's move that right there. All right. And wipe off my palette knife. We'll come back to the palette knife again in just a second. And I want to take a dirty brush, or brush that I already used. I'm using the 1-inch Bob Ross landscaping brush. And I'm just going to pull down my shapes of my mountains. And the reason I scrape the paint off a bit is so that it fades into the foothills, is where I really want to fade that at. I'm going to fade that out, and less paint you use, it will fade it out better towards your foothills. And every mountain's got foothills, so we're going to have some foothills on this design. And here's the mountain that's in front. Now the one you'd use is the start with at first is the background, and the one you end with is going to pull it forward into the front. See that? Just pulls it to the front. And pull that color out. And shape that mountain how I feel. Just how I feel. Like a nice little edge right there. Just quite a slope. And there's a ski slope back there too. Under. All kinds of things back there. Just paint the sides. You want your outline of your mountain to stay darker at the top. That way it doesn't get away from you too much. Here so you can see. I'll need a little bit more of an edge right in here. I add a little black. That's better. That's a whole lot better. I like that. That looks pretty nice. Put that one. Just smear that back. Push that back. Let's add some snow. It's cold mountain, it's a cold day. Let's paint some snow. I'm grabbing the small palette knife again from Bob Ross. And I just pulled out some titanium white. Just pull it out. Cut across. Don't want to cut it across twice and get a nice little roll of paint there. And first you want to do the one in the background. And when you drive a paintbrush, a palette knife, this is kind of like driving, I call it. You want to use your pinky and barely put your fingers on it and just hold it. Kind of make it float in midair. And when you press on the canvas, you barely use any pressure and you just move it with the pinky. See? I'll show you up here. It'll get easier in time, but I have shaky hands and it tends to be good with snow. When you have snow, it leaves little gaps and little areas of empty snow. And that makes your highlights and your lowlights. You can't have all frosting, I guess. You want to look like it has a frosting on a cake. So you got the back mountain on the background. Scooping up that paint and pulling it out flat again. Titanium white, cut it across. A nice little roll. Nice little roll of paint. Alright. And I want this to kind of bounce and just jiggle and across the tops of the mountains. There's a nice peak. And you get this down into the bottom. Perhaps there's a glacier or a big deep slope, chasm. You can put little low lights down here too. You can put a little blue in between, make it look like there's some gullies and rifts. Not all smooth. The mountains are not smooth. They're just in there, just collecting snow and glaciers for many, many years. Pull that out. Take some more titanium white, just titanium white on the palette knife. And just pull that across slowly. Just driving with your pinky. Don't recommend you do that with the car. That would be bad. Anybody would be good. Shouldn't. And right there. One more nice little area of snow. Right there. It's a snow day today outside, so I thought I'd put a little snow on some mountains. Don't forget your sides. And just touch up on the corners. The corners are difficult. You want to just tap at them and just pull off enough paint. And it really is a very difficult thing to get the corners. You just sort of put it on there the best you can, and you can really spend some time on them. You can get them better, probably better than I can. I've been doing this for a few years. And next we're going to do some shadowing. Some shadows in the snow with the palette knife. Get a little French ultramarine. Some nice blue. Just grab a bunch of it on the palette knife. Pull it out across your titanium white. And just pull it out flat, mix it in with the titanium white. Enough, just enough you want, as you want. Pull it out flat, cut across, just like that. Get a nice little roll of paint. And just want to go down in little zigzag lines, not perfectly straight. Mountains are not straight. I'll tell you who painted these mountain scenes before in a very similar technique is Bob Ross. He used a wet on wet technique. And I'm just taking his technique because he had the greatest ideas. I thought Bob Ross is just awesome. And I thought, well, I'd like to get my ideas up here, my designs. And, you know, it's kind of, I got to looking at a white canvas and I thought, well, it's just like a doctor's office, the white coat syndrome. Get into a doctor's office and kind of gets intimidating, in fact. So it's a white canvas syndrome, sort of. It's a white canvas syndrome, so I thought, well, this will make it less intimidating if I paint acrylics first and got my idea down. And sure enough, I got my idea down and it was so much better. I just wanted to share that with y'all. Bob Ross is most certainly my mentor. Here's how I learned painting. Maybe y'all can do a little teaching and maybe even learn from each other. I believe in a happy world like Bob Ross believed in. Very nice man. Lived in Alaska, grew up there. Well, didn't grow up there, but he lived there for a time. And I'm just going to add a small shadowy area here on the front side of my mountain. Maybe it's just a shadow of the snow right in here, a deeper area. There. Pull that out. That doesn't look too bad. That looks all right. Wipe the painting knife on. Palette knife on the old towel. Set that aside. And let's go into some yellow green. This is a clean brush, Bob Ross 1-inch brush. It's clean and it's dry, so we'll go into some yellow green, a lighter shade, and lay out your foothills, the grass of the foothills, grassy areas, because it's not very green up close to the mountains. It's not very green grass. It's kind of dry and almost brown, especially in the winter. They don't really have any grass at all. Certainly not the higher elevations. So you really want to have a place in mind when you're painting. You want to have a basic area and kind of study the place and maybe even go there. Like Hawaii, Hawaii mountains. They have different kinds of mountains in Hawaii. And on the sea. Very nice. Very nice people in Hawaii too. Just hitting the edges as well. Now this open spot right here down at the bottom that I left all white, I want to paint with a bit of French ultramarine. This is a brush that's already got blue on it. It's a 1-inch brush. It's going to do only the French ultramarine. It's a nice translucent blue. It's almost see-through. And when you're painting a lake or a pond, you want to grab it at the sides and leave a small area in the middle and just ease off toward the middle. Go toward the side and just ease off. Leaves a nice open area for a gleam. We're going to set that back and really make a nice shiny pond. Shiny pond at the edge of the mountains. And at the bottom. Pull toward the side, from the side. Center. Center again. And I almost forgot the bottom with the green. Can't do that. The same green brush. Had the yellow green on it before. Do a little more pink. Yellow green. And let's get the bottom there. There we are. Alright. Takes care of that one. Shouldn't need to do too much with the bottom. The bottom should be pretty well covered by now. Now what you do whenever we're doing a pond or a lake is you want to pull from the sides with the dry brush and just go over it and just lay it back, and it looks like a nice gleam that you've got in a lake. Make sure you make straight lines. There we are.